Let me start the open house, and in order to conduct this open house, I would like to invite our master conductor. Well, Mr. G Chandrashekhar is a global commodities expert. He has over 40 years of experience in tracking global commodities markets. He has been a part of several advisory committees on commodities and has been a keynote speaker at many global platforms on commodities. He continues to write for periodicals like Hindu Business Line, where he was the commodities editor until recently. Mr. G Chandrashekhar is also a part of the Technical Advisory Committee and Independent Director in Fortel Business Solutions Private Limited. Let's hear it from Mr. G Chandrashekhar as he takes his place up on the stage. Let's make some noise, everyone. Come on. To join Mr. Chandrashekhar in this open house, I would additionally like to invite from Thaman Agri Exports LLP, Mr. G Chandrashekhar. Inviting you on the stage, sir. Alright. Inviting once again on stage Oak India Trading Company Private Limited, Mr. Sandeep Bhura. And also from SesameInformation.com, we have Mr. Sri Vatsava Ganpati joining us on the stage. Alright everyone, have a great engaging discussion. Slido.com is your tool to engage with our panelists there, and from here on, Mr. Chandrashekhar is in the driving seat.
Thank you dear for the warm introduction. Good morning friends, such a delight for me to be here at this inaugural edition of the World Sesame Convention. I'm sure year after year from now on, we'll have this event, a great congregation of representatives from various countries. Personally, I'm absolutely upbeat, absolutely positive about the future of Sesame seed. I've been associated with this trade and industry for long years, particularly in my capacity as the Executive Secretary of the Export Promotion Organization, what was earlier called IOPEA, and now it's called IOPEPC. Anyway, I think I won't go into that. But my interest primarily is promoting agribusiness. I'm a consultant to the United Nations International Trade Center in Geneva, and the mandate is to promote trade amongst developing countries. And I've done a lot of work in the area of pulses and other commodities. I just want to give you the context of this session, and we have absolutely eminent panelists here. What is the context of this session? Global sesame production currently is about 5 million tons, and there are dozens of producing countries, origins, and several dozens of consuming countries, which are destinations: India, China, Nigeria, Tanzania, Myanmar. These are big producers and big exporters. Consumption value currently, on a very conservative estimate, is about $6.5 to $7 billion. That's at the farm gate, and that's at the farm gate level. My belief is that consumption, the $6.5 billion is the value of production. If we were to add value and look at the consumption, in my view, the estimate could be as much as $12 billion. And I'm absolutely convinced, in 5 years from now, if all of us here in this room, if all of us here work together, this business can grow from $12 billion to $20 billion. I have absolutely no doubt at all. Because this is a commodity which is substantially underexploited, substantially underexplored. And here is an opportunity, and I want to compliment Fortel, I want to compliment Srivats and his fantastic team, Vinayak and others for organizing this event. The numbers that we've seen, number of delegates from various different countries, more than 2,000 countries, creates a huge amount of euphoria actually about this commodity and the potential of this commodity. There's a momentum that is generated. I think we need to keep that momentum up. In the context, of course, I don't have to tell you that several other speakers have talked about the health benefits of sesame seed, the very rich source of essential nutrients, etc., etc. The best part is sesame seed lends itself to huge amount of value addition. Even that area of value addition is underexploited and underexposed. And once we start investing in research to produce products with substantial value addition, I think the kind of realization that one can get, the processors can get, is absolutely immense. It's a functional food. It's also a part of nutraceuticals, etc. Believe me, in Sanskrit language in India, and India has been producing sesame seed for probably 3,000 or 4,000 years. Okay? It has a very long history. The word oil, which is edible oil, cooking oil, is called tailam. Tailam is a word for edible oil or cooking oil. And the word tailam came from till. Till means, when you say tailam, it is the oil of sesame seed. That's how India perceived sesame seed oil. Tilleshu tailam is the expression in the Sanskrit language. For it has great antiquity. Sesame seed has great antiquity as far as India is concerned, but same goes for the Mediterranean region, etc. Huge antiquity, 3,000 to 4,000 years of history, which this commodity has. But as I said, this potential is completely underexplored, and I think here is an opportunity for all of us to work together to start exploring the potential of this commodity. Come on. My friend, why is it not moving? Okay, alright. The context, okay. There are also challenges, smallholder cultivation, low yields, etc. Every major origin is facing these challenges, and there are newer challenges now. What is global warming and climate change? I'm not sure if anyone knows really whether climate change is going to impact sesame seed positively or negatively. I think we need to be, a lot more research is required in terms of the impact of global warming and climate change on sesame seed. There are logistics issues as far as cargo movement is concerned, all of us are aware, particularly from many of the African origins. Contract performance issues are certainly rampant. These need to be addressed. The market information system in particular is substantially underdeveloped. There is a lot of information available in isolated pockets. I think we need to bring all that information together and probably have a system of communication whereby every participant, every stakeholder in the sesame seed value chain gets information from time to time, updated information from time to time. I think this, I believe, is extremely important. Creating a base for market information system and sharing data and information across all the participants in the sesame value chain. I think one of the purposes of this conference, I would think, is to now start seriously looking at creating a market information system. And of course, this industry is not spending enough money, or governments also are not spending enough money on researching the health benefits of sesame seed, and that needs to be triggered. So this is the context in which this session is being conducted. There are market opportunities to be captured, huge market opportunities to be captured. For we need to make the stakeholders in the sesame sector need to make an absolutely systematic approach to enhancing production, enhancing processing, enhancing value addition, and of course distribution and consumption. And at every stage of the value chain, there is some opportunity to be captured, there is some value to be captured, and there is some money to be made, to be very honest. And therefore, if all of us are able to get together, all the origins and all the consuming destination countries are able to get together and come on a common platform, I think it's going to become a win-win situation for all the producers and all the consumers, where there will be a lot more transparency in the operations, lot more flow of information amongst all the participants, and which can potentially lead to a major expansion in the business. There are also, of course, service providers who will benefit, whether it is a research company or a financial institution or other service providers like warehousing, shipping, logistic services, etc., etc. I think it's going to be a win-win for all the stakeholders in this. So what's the way forward? I'm thinking aloud, and I think it's obviously left to the combined wisdom of this house. I want to propose a global Sesame alliance, a global Sesame alliance of major origins and major destinations. And when major origins, or all origins and all destinations, when they come together and have a neutral platform, this is not a platform which is owned by anybody. It's a neutral platform, and when it's a neutral platform, everybody, in fact, everybody is the owner of this platform. That kind of a global Sesame alliance with all the stakeholders as partners or participants, I think will give a big boost to the global Sesame sector, and this can help. This kind of an alliance can help address quality issues, trade issues, then look at production and processing. I think gradually, over a period of time, this can become a significant body to even influence government policies, in my view. Most important, I'm sure many of you know about the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations proclaimed sometime in September 2015. And my own research suggests that Sesame seed can and is in a position to advance at least 12 or 13 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And countries like India are a signatory to this SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. Many of the countries, even including African countries and others, are all signatories to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Therefore, promoting Sesame seed will also help countries promote or advance the Sustainable Development Goal, which will be a very positive contribution from this sector. I am able to imagine, because I work fairly closely with the Global Pulse Confederation, and I've known how the Global Pulse Confederation has morphed over the years into a powerful body of pulses stakeholders. Sesame, in my opinion, has that kind of a potential. Although pulses are much bigger in terms of several times bigger in terms of volume and value, but yeah, Sesame, I'm sure, can replicate the experience that we have in pulses. It will be very interesting to talk about working with international institutions like the Food and Agriculture Organization. This global alliance that I'm talking about. I'm sure many of you know 2016 was declared as the International Year of Pulses. I'm now able to imagine, I'm thinking, why should we not lobby with the United Nations and the FAO to declare one of the future years as an International Year of Sesame seed? Do you agree? I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible. February 10th has been declared as the World Pulses Day by the United Nations. Should we not lobby with the United Nations to get one day in a year declared as World Sesame Day? It is possible. I think therefore this global alliance that we are talking about, it's still in a very, very nascent stage, is something that can advance the Sustainable Development Goals. It can advance investment into the sector. It can help advance research in this sector. It can help lobby with the United Nations to have 1 year as International Year of Sesame seed. It can have 1 day in a year declared as a World Sesame Day. And therefore that's going to open up an extraordinarily exciting opportunity for all the stakeholders in the sesame sector. I thought I will share this thought of mine with you all. Again, let me repeat. There are national associations. In every country, there are national bodies and national associations. Obviously, those national associations are completely sovereign, independent associations. They look after the interest of the stakeholders in each of these countries, whether it is a producing country or consuming country. But here we are talking about information sharing to start with, and then of course we can have a roadmap for the future of Sesame Seed, where I believe in 5 to 7 years it should be possible to nearly double the turnover of the Sesame sector from the current about 10 or 12 billion dollars to probably close to 20 or in excess of 20 billion dollars. I think that's the kind of exciting opportunities that I am able to foresee, and I'm sure I want to commend this and recommend this opportunity to each one of you. Let us not miss this opportunity. If we all sing together, I think we'll be able to succeed. As I say, if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you walk together. If we are all able to walk together, we will be able to walk far. Good luck. Good luck and God bless you all. Thank you very much. Great. Now we have a panel, a wonderful panel. We've just flagged certain issues, and let me talk to my young friend, a huge stakeholder in the Indian Sesame context, to share his thoughts of how do you look at the future of Sesame as this international gathering. Is there anything that we can do to further the interests of Sesame sector and the stakeholders of the Sesame sector? Because if all of us sing together, we'll succeed. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I think association like that, we could do a lot. Number one is sharing knowledge, database with each other. What kind of crops do we have everywhere? From the smallest of the nation to the biggest of the growers. We can have new development in sesame processing, sesame harvesting, different techniques. There could be something like sharing what are the new development in processing, new products that have been launched across the globe that could help us, in developing sesame trade. There is a lot we can do. I mean, these are the few things that I can think of. That's probably
yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you, Sandeep. I think you can't agree with him more. There is a lot that can be done. There's a lot that needs to be done, and there is so much information floating around that needs to be collated and circulated to everybody. That will actually have a kind of a snowballing effect on the businesses of people. Jay, you've also been in this business for long years, although you are young, but I'm sure you have enough experience. What are your thoughts on the kind of ideas that we have proposed now?
Good morning, everyone. So I feel that yes, the whole trade I think there's a lot of cohesion in the trade that I am seeing. I am part of this trade for more than 10 years now. I see a lot of opportunity because sesame is a very nutritious oilseed. But I think and I feel that we are not able to market it in the way that we should. There are a lot of other seeds which are now in the customer's mind as a niche product, as a more nutritious product, as a better alternative. But sesame in itself is naturally a very nutritious seed. So for us, I think if we have an alliance and something on a global level where all the countries which are stakeholders in this trade come together and share ideas, share information, there is a lot of problems which are facing our industry. And if we come together, I am quite sure right now in this world there is nothing to which there is not a solution already available. The problem is it is there in some country, other countries suffering because they don't know about it. But if for example, we are hearing about harvesting practices. Sesame, the biggest problem with sesame is it's manually harvested. And I have heard that in Brazil there is mechanized harvesting which is possible. Yes, right now it is affecting the shelf life, but if we are going to study that and implement it in other countries, it would really help boost the production of sesame. And demand side, if we are raising awareness, I think it has a lot of possibilities. And Mr. Chandrashekhar told about doubling, but I see a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of land available in Africa, and we are seeing production increasing day by day. We are talking about it, but ultimately nobody is asking the question that if it continues to grow, what we will do with it. We don't want a situation where there is an excess. So as the supply is growing, we must work on the demand also. And an initiative like this can help us fuel that demand. That's what I think.
Sure, you actually said it. I remember it was only last week I wrote in the context of pulses that how there is a sudden increase in production of pulses in India in the last 2 years, as a result of which prices are depressed and farmers are suffering. But I said this also reflects the failure of the policy makers to boost demand. We need policies to boost demand because there is a serious nutrition crisis in India, for protein deficiency in India. But I think I completely can't agree with you more on the need, not only to look at production, processing, value addition, but at the same time, we need to have a commensurate increase in demand and consumption, particularly in countries which are calorie deficient, etc. I think that's extraordinarily important. Please.
One more thing we need to add, the way these new superfoods are being marketed, chia, quinoa, the way these products are coming into the market, and everybody in every developed, underdeveloped countries knows about them. But we are not able to give enough justice to sesame and give enough weightage to it that it is so valuable and it is available in almost every country. Correct. Chia quinoa comes from maybe 6, 7, 8 countries in the world, and they are able to market it so well. So if we put in enough efforts, I think there is a long way to go.
Right. Absolutely. Take the example of quinoa that Sandeep mentioned. Was it 2014 or 2015 was the International Year of Quinoa? Believe me, most people had not heard about that crop, that product at all before the FAO and the United Nations announced it as the International Year. For sesame, of course, people are aware of it. It has a long history, 3-4 millennia old crop and old commodity. But yet, I think we need to train the attention of all the stakeholders, policymakers, consumers, traders, and other stakeholders on sesame seed in order to expand the business opportunities and capture the market opportunities. Very well said. Thank you. Seva, do you have something to add? Sure, please.
Well, I think majorly we have to look at the research side. For us to boost demand, research. For us to boost demand, like you have said, we have to take on research to bring out the nutritional value of sesame, the medicinal value of it, and have the government around buy into it and support both the research and both the marketing. I think it's very key, and I will take this message also down to Nigeria.
Excellent.
Maybe some quick comments.
Sure, please.
It's a good idea from my point of view. My name is Haile from Ethiopia. So we have an association looking looking after this Sesame process. I think we have been trying also to make some alliance between African partners. I think we will go on that hopefully. So on a global also, global system alliance, it's much better to lead because we can boost its importance, the market information that you have said already, and especially we are facing these default issues from buyers and sellers side both. So we can have also some arbitration.
Yeah, we would also look at arbitration.
Yeah.
Right now, the main idea is to help each other in every way possible. One country, another country, to pass on information that we know and the practices that one country follows and the other country doesn't know about that.
Of course.
Maybe in future we could work at developing better seeds, better yields, because that's what today we have enough land to use, but maybe in future there'll be a time when we need to use smaller pieces of land, but with a high yield of the seed, we are able to produce bigger quantities. So there is a lot of things to discuss. Processing is another thing. One country is processing in a very fantastic product. They are giving fantastic product. The other country doesn't know about it. So sharing information, making it available to everyone. Every country who is a part of it, we want them to be to have access to such data. This is important.
Create a knowledge base which everybody is able to access and benefit from. Excellent.
Hi, good morning. My name is Prakash. I'm from Bhakanapur. One of the things which I want to tell you that you said correctly last year, I believe it was the International Year of Pulses. The story behind the International Year of Pulses was because of that confederation and their efforts and their pressure on FAOs and UN. In Sesame, we are missing that confederation. We need an international confederation. Same like CISL. If we don't have it, then we cannot, pursue on that, international year.
That is why we are coming to you. That we want to have an alliance like that, wherein we can push in every door of the world. If we knock there as a team, everybody will listen to us. If I go alone, they will say, "Oh, please, Sandeep, move out."
As from Hakan, we are happy to assist in this because we are one of the oldest in this. And Mr. Hakan also was involved in the International Year of Pulses. So, from our side, whatever help, whatever efforts we need to put, we are happy to do that. Number one. Number two is that probably to increase the consumption. That's one of the very important points. There is no point of increasing the volume and reducing the prices unless you find a non-conventional usage of sesame seed. As you have seen, soybean and many other products has gone far away in this direction. But sesame seed, still the usage is a conventional usage. Probably we need to have some non-conventional usage to increase the production.
So we need something like we can sell it to a McDonald's or a Pizza Hut or a Subway, which is there in every country, most of the countries in the world. So they can spread this faster.
Jay has something.
So basically, like we are not talking about vegetable protein. Sesame is a very good protein source. But this is something that nobody is talking about. What we have to do is get the world talking about sesame.
Exactly.
And as Mr. Prakash rightly said, we don't have any global representation. So this is just an initiative. I think more of a brainstorming session. So we welcome ideas. But I think in essence, it's not about any country. It's about sesame. So if we can get together to do something for that, then I think everyone can benefit.
Absolutely. Anyone?
We have Mr. Rakesh from Carbon Trading, Pakistan.
Yeah. Sure.
Good morning, everybody. You can consider this as a question, but I would put it more towards opinion because you are the three most senior businessmen in commodities. Okay, health is becoming very, very crucial subject for everybody. mostly in the world. Everybody is health conscious, and Sesame is one of the products which is considered as good for health. And when we look into the prices, I do not agree that most of the population can afford to have this product. So how can you give your opinion on this, and how can we discuss about this, the pricing level issue and the consumption issue, because it is not easy for everyone to get this product. Yeah, that's all.
I think point is very well taken. Affordability and accessibility are extremely important. There's no doubt at all. Today we are here not to find solutions to issues, but we know there are a number of issues, and therefore we need a platform, a neutral platform of the Global Alliance to then start addressing these issues. Yes, point well taken that there is a certain price sensitivity to consumption. At lower prices, more will be consumed, which will benefit all the stakeholders. I think point is very, very well taken. And therefore, this alliance should discuss and address these issues. I'm not going to invite, I don't know if I should invite Kishore Bheda, whose family has been into this business for decades. Kishore himself was the president of the chairman of the IOP EPC, and huge amount of domain expertise, track record and knowledge. Kishore, what would be your thoughts?
First of all, I welcome the step.
Raise your voice.
Yeah, I welcome the step, which is very much needed. From the discussion that I also heard 2 points that I would like to make. One, Rakesh brought out a point of affordability. Yesterday also, there was a discussion on what price how is the Asian market would open. I think while we talk about prices, the idea that we are all traders, we are all processors, we are all consumers, we must not forget farmers' interests. This is a very important stakeholder in the chain. And if farmers are deprived of the right kind of prices, then I think that the system would lose its glamour. So very important that there is a balance is struck out, and all stakeholders should get the fair value and fair rate. Secondly, talking about nutritional values, that brought out. I think Japan, Korea, and partly China are doing this very consciously. In our country like India, traditionally we have been using it by default. Like we have in winter months certain delicacies that we consume, which is from a nutrition point of view. But all this needs to be channelized in the right direction to make it a superfood or some Sunday boost or whole food, and get the glory to the Sesame that it deserves.
Thank you, Kishore. Thank you for input. I'm now going to call somebody from Brazil, my friend Marcelo. Marcelo, what are your thoughts on this Global Sesame Alliance? What role you think Brazil is going to play? Please share your thoughts.
Good morning for all.
Morning.
It's a pleasure for us staying here and heard about this market that for us is a new market. Brazil appearing recently in this market, and we are here to learn and agree. This is a good idea when areas and countries like Brazil need information about how big can be the area. Brazil needs care with this, because sometimes the growers in Brazil can put more than is interesting to the market. And in this, I believe this forum will be good to do this too. And I would like to participate and put Brazil in this too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Would anyone like to share?
Just a quick comment.
Please. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I fully support the idea of the alliance, because I think that will bring great stability to the market in terms of growth and finding new uses and potential for the product. And I think one of the most neglected areas that Sesame find uses in the pharmaceuticals. The beauty sector is one that is huge, and sesame oil is a base for a lot of the cosmetics. So if we can push marketing and awareness in that area, that will go a long way. An example is the body lotion Neutrogena. It's surprising to find out that the raw material for Neutrogena is sesame seed oil and just a little perfume. And it's a huge market on that oil in the Nigerian beauty sector. So I think internationally, if we push in the pharmaceutical area and the body and beauty area, there's a great market that I can obtain there.
Just a quick comment from Annabelle of
Sure,
Germany.
Sure.
Mr. Daniel?
You just talked about that superfoods is boosting demand very up, but actually the superfoods, I mean, has no science proved more valid than any other product in the world. So what is not, why not here coming together to a balance of like Sesame Food Producers Association or something, and make it like all superfoods done it, promoting it as maybe a super seed. But I mean the function of being superfoods is only a marketing idea from, I would guess, some American companies who really pretty good markets what they have.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, 1 second.
I think can we have some comments for Ms. Heshin? I think she's representing CFN, one of the biggest stakeholders of Sesame in the world.
Can we have some comments from you?
I asked her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Yeah. And by the time you think, I just give one more data, you know. For all our friends from Brazil, excuse me, hello, from Brazil. You know, India produce about 800,000 tons of sesame. The size of country is 3.2 million square kilometer. Brazil is 8.5 million square. You have a large, so think about it.
They have 100 million hectares free land now available. Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Thank you, yes. And India and China, yes, we almost have consumed similar size of the sesame. But the habit maybe is different. I think whether Indian people can consume more sesame seed oil like Chinese, is it possible in the future?
It's not impossible, but
Because in China, about 60 to 65% of the raw materials of sesame for the crushing usage. It's very huge.
The main difference is the price. You know, the Indian market is very price sensitive as of now. So we need to educate them, number one, of the benefits of sesame. Number two, if we are able to increase the yield, so the farmer's interest has been kept and the production also increases to reduce the price. That is the best way that we can see.
Friends, I think if there are any more comments, please feel free. This is your forum, it's your platform. But what is heartening for me is there is a very broad and general consensus that there is a case for a global Sesame Alliance to be created, which will address, it's a common platform for all the nations, which will address issues and actually grow the market bigger and bigger, so that everybody benefits. That's great. While on this, I want to mention there is one person amongst us who I consider who is actually a pioneer in the oilseed sector, sesame, particularly sesame exports. Someone who's a mentor to a very large number of successful traders in oilseeds. Someone who's had offices not only in India but in London and in Singapore and different parts of the world. Somebody who has nearly 60 years of experience and domain knowledge, all contained in one personality. I want to invite my friend, young friend, Sam Marshall, onto the stage. Please put your hands together for Sam Martin. Over the next one, there is the amount of work that he's done in the 60s and the 70s. I know the kind of work he's done. Over the next 5 minutes, he's going to share some of his thoughts. Marshall, the floor is yours. Sam.
Well, I must say I brainwashed Chandra to say all those lovely things. In fact, my background is, I'm probably the oldest guy over here, but as they say, age is just a number, and I think that last night I rather enjoyed myself dancing with all you young people. The background there is that I started out to say in the 1960s and 70s, where we focused very much on Ethiopia at that time, and there was a bit of Sudan, and my partner was Evangelos Bourboullis, Greek, because you know the Greeks were in fact controlling all the trade in Sudan and Egypt and Ethiopia, and of course we opened up the markets of Japan, where we probably sold about 60,000 tons in a year, and of course to Greece and so on. My background is very much oil seeds, and sesame is one of the major items, as well as of course cashews, where I think we are the pioneers that started out with India on the processing of cashews, with the imports from Tanzania, Vietnam, which have now themselves become competitors of India as well. I must say I'm very much impressed with all the exchanges we just had, and I must thank Chandra and Sandeep and Jay and Srivastava, and of course I have some old friends over here, Sundaji Beda brothers and so many others, and it's very gratifying to see the way the industry has grown enormously, where we found not only that Ethiopia, which was a bit somnolent for a while, but the way Nigeria has grown enormously, which becomes a major factor. Plus, of course, we have Brazil. As we know, they've got the big acreage, and therefore this is the future. What I tried to do is I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, because you guys are already established this business, is that I'll try to focus on movement of hull sesame seed and to proliferate the usage of sesame seed, which you have to think in terms very much on the health issue, where you can try to prove that its health benefit with the sesame oil in all its forms, and of course the hull sesame seed, and really health. People are so concerned about health all the time, so this is one area that you should think of in your downstream. I noticed that my friend Hakan is not over here, but Hakan is of course an old friend. We still remain friends of over 30 years, and he's a great inspiration because of his love for sesame seed from day one, and the way he's inspired all of you people here, and with the enormous growth. But above all, you need to work downstream to bring to the notice of various countries the utilization, and again I would say our dear Chandra, who's got tremendous energy and initiative, that this global alliance idea that you have, you should take it up with both hands and make it a success. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity to be here with you, and I wish you every success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for this wonderful, very inspiring speech. To hear this from a veteran is really great. On behalf of all of us here, I'm going to wish Sam, may you live 100 years. You must, in cricket parlance, they say he will hit a century. and continue to serve this trade and industry for long years, bring your domain expertise, be a mentor, be a guide to a lot of people.
Thank you. I love music and I love dancing. I have a son who's a musician, he plays 5 instruments and has his own band and he teaches in London. A daughter who makes films. So they told me, Dad, get back to work. But they realized I enjoy this. I enjoy meeting you guys. I enjoy seeing your growth. To me, this is fantastic. I had my office in Brazil for over 10 years in the soya complex. We became #1 in the world in edible oils with markets all over. So for me, Sesame Seed is a most important article. And thank you for being here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will conclude this session. Good luck and God bless you all. Thank you. Okay.
Check.
There's a small memento. I don't know what's inside, but you need to accept this. Come, all of us. No, all of us. Come. Sir, Sam, it is for you. Come, just hold it. It's a great photo op for us. Look at the camera. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's give a huge round of applause to the swashbuckling star of the sesame industry in the world. Thank you so much, Sam. And of course, they've got our moderator, our chairperson of the session, presenting mementos to Mr. Sandeep Pura, Mr. G Chandrashekhar. But sir, do we have your photograph as well? Okay, but could I please invite someone very special on the stage to present a memento to our chairperson for the session. May I request His Excellency Muhammad Badru Abu Bakr, MONMNI, to please present a memento for steering this session so beautifully to our chairperson of the session, Mr. G Chandrashekhar. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we've had the privilege of hearing in detail from His Excellency Muhammad Badru Abu Bakr, Executive Governor of Jigawa State, Nigeria. And thank you so much for your patronage, sir, in this session of the convention as well.